Yo, once again, it's your boy. This is again not an endorsement. I just want to preface that because a lot of people like to get into that hype, whether you like or dislike somebody, whether you like or dislike a company, whether you like or dislike something. This is not my endorsement. This is just an analysis. So let's break it down. Bill Gates and his bankroll, right? Because, and the thing I want to point out is just the real. Let's get down to actual facts about his money, and then after we look at the analysis of his money, then let's see how you really feel about your conspiracy theories, because it's easy to get caught up in a conspiracy, right? It's easy to, or a conspiracy theory, so to speak. It's easy to like hear a theory, then there's this point, that point, and this point, and it all sounds like, well, golly, that just makes sense, right? Okay, but sometimes people don't want to consider the other facts, right? And again, not my endorsement for Gates, not my attack on him either. I don't really care if you like him, if you dislike him, but what it comes down to is the way we analyze life, the way we analyze business, the way we analyze how we vote politically, the way we analyze how we handle things within our city, within our community, within our state, which a lot of people don't even realize is so much more important than, and most people focus on the national level, like, oh, we got to vote for our president. It's our duty, it's our patriotic duty, right, to vote for our president. But so many people ignore the guy that affects your life every single day, like your city council, your school board. The school board, the city council, your state officials, your local representatives for the community, for the counties, things like that. People spend so little time actually paying attention to when they affect you every single day. Every single day, they affect your life. And they have a lot more power to change things than the president does. So not to get sidetracked with the president or anything like that, this isn't really about politics. This is just the way we analyze statistics and the way we analyze data, and the way we take little tidbits of information and skew it really quickly into a conspiracy theory, and then we like someone more than we already did, or we dislike someone that we used to like, or we dislike someone more than we already disliked them in the beginning, or we start disliking someone we liked. It's like it alters our perspective and it alters our perception of who they are based on tidbits of information that are skewed. Sometimes they're skewed by others, and sometimes they're literally skewed by ourselves. We just see something, we're like, oh my gosh, that must mean, and everybody loves a conspiracy, right? I mean, it just makes things more spicy, more juicy, more exotic, more fun. And of course, you don't want conspiracies happening in our country. You don't want conspiracies happening in your city, in your town. But to think that one is, it's kind of, whoa, that's really happening? People can't help it. They get sucked in. It's the wrong thing to do, but people do it. So anyways, let's get back to Bill Gates. Back in no, let's take it back further. Back in 1999, was the richest man at $100 billion. Now this was amidst the dot-com bubble, right? So things were blowing up. I mean, he's Mr. Microsoft. The dude's just got stacks on stacks, right? Making bank. $100 billion was his net worth. And I want y'all to understand net worth. Let's break that down. Net worth is what your value is. It's not how much money you have. It's how much value you have based on the things that you own. Now, if you are leveraged, the things that you're leveraged, that's not worth, because you don't own it. Like if you're financing your car, financing your house, your business is leveraged. You've got so many business loans, personal loans, things like that have leveraged your business. Then the income of your business, you know what I mean? You can have your business or your house or anything like that leveraged to the eyeballs, right? And then it's not worth nothing, right? Okay, because you don't have value in that. And actually, if you're over leveraged, if you're leveraged beyond its worth, then what you have is that depletes and takes down your net worth. So anything that you own, it could be an inheritance, it could be properties, it could be properties like houses, real estate, it could be commercial properties, land, agriculture, anything like that. So all these different things, different companies that you own. So a guy like Bill Gates, he had his hands in lots of pots, right? It didn't take him long. Microsoft started blowing up. He started putting his hands all kinds of places because he wasn't stupid. Now, again, I reiterate, not an endorsement. You may like him, you may not like him. So if you like him, I ain't mad at you. And if you don't like him, I'm not mad at you either. That's okay. So when it comes down to it, he wasn't a stupid man. He wasn't, okay? So the man started putting money, and he even openly in interviews had talked about it. It's like, do you know about all the things you're investing in? Not necessarily. He's like he started buying up land. He was buying land in the 90s. He was buying land in the early 2000s. And in the early 2000s, some people think that people just discovered in the last 2-3 years that he was buying land. And they're like, oh my gosh, he's buying up all the farmland. Dude, he bought the farmland 10 to 15 years ago at a minimum. He started buying that farmland in the early 2000s, and every couple of years was buying more because he had all this money and he was like, gotta do something. In 2009, right when that real estate bubble popped, right? There was on the cusp of if you don't know, you don't know. You should know. Pay attention, right? Okay, so 2009, right after 2008, his net worth was $40 billion. Now, he owned all these different pieces of land at that point. But those pieces of land, based on the government, were worth a lot less because the bubble popped. And when that bubble popped, all that land that he had wasn't worth what it was before. So his $100 billion that he had 10 years before was worth barely $40 billion. Was he literally losing money? No, he really wasn't. He wasn't losing money, but his worth was going down because the things he had bought into had devalued. They just had. It happens. It happens all the time. 2014, he's back up to about 76 billion. He's at 76 billion by 2020. This is when the conspiracies start getting thick, right? Everybody's sitting at home, everybody's doing a whole lot of nothing, right? Because pandemic happens, COVID happens, everybody's sitting at home, and all they're doing is surfing the web, and everybody's sharing, tweeting, Facebooking, and sharing information with one another, and they're sharing their theories that they ultimately maybe had for a while, but had no time to share. So now they got time, got nothing but time. And the government is literally helping you have time because they are giving people, unemployment was through the roof. They were paying more people to sit at home than they were to work. Then they were giving, I had a buddy who called it his pandemic paper. He was getting money to sit at home. Every couple of months, people were getting stimulus packages so they could stay at home, right? Everybody got them. I got them, you got them, we all got them. Now, what y'all did with it, I don't know. But during that time, like I said, people were collecting their money to sit at home and do nothing. But their ideas, right? More people started speculating, well, maybe he did this, maybe he did that. And he had money in science. He had money in medicine. Was he behind the pandemic? I don't know. But see, that's the thing, is I'm a realist. I don't know. First of all, I don't think anybody planned it. Because when it comes down to it, everybody was at risk. Now, there are some people, there have been terrorists and bad people throughout centuries of time who were willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good to take out other people. Some of it was because they believed in something greater, and some of it was just narcissism. They were just like, I'm gonna be the guy that goes down as a legend because I took out all these. You know, it's like some people are just whacked, right? Is that Bill Gates? I don't know, man. There has been a lot of things that he said and done that's incredibly questionable, right? Absolutely. A lot of rational people are like, man, did he really say that? Did he really do that? But also, you can look at a lot of other people. You can look at just regular people. Well, let's look at some celebrities. Look at the things that people like Lady Gaga, Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Jenny McCarthy. Like, then you go back to just your friends, just your homeboys who aren't famous, who don't have a platform that everybody listens to. Sometimes do your friends or your family members say things and you're just like, man, are you all right? Do you really believe that? You really believe you should eat that and it's gonna save your life? You really believe you should drink that and it's gonna, anti-age you? You really believe you should be using that on your skin or this in your hair? Or you really believe that you should be spending so many hours? Like Rob Dyrdek, he's such a cool guy. He's such a nice, compassionate, sweet person. Everybody that I've ever listened to who's ever met him just talks about how kind and just a wonderful person he is. And he's got a podcast, great podcast, and he constantly talks about just personal health and just taking care of oneself. But he spends time in a isolation chamber. He spends time meditating every day. Is that crazy? I don't think it is. But do some people think it's crazy? Probably. But is it a little abnormal? It's absolutely abnormal. But that doesn't make it wrong. That doesn't make it, Now, the thing is when you get on a platform and you start pushing it towards other people, this is what you should be doing. Well, that's a little bit of does that make them an evil person? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe they're just got a big enough ego. They're just arrogant enough to believe they figured out the answer. I've got some friends, I've got some family who are just arrogant enough. They're not bad people. They truly believe that what they're doing and that what they're thinking and what they're acting upon is the right way and the best thing for people. And so they share it with people, but they share it very aggressively. They're like, this is what you should be doing. This is what you should be eating. This is what you should be acting on. This is what you should be feeling. And they very aggressive, very firm. This needs to happen. But why do they do that? They do this because they care. But the thing that makes them not evil and not crazy is they're not on a big platform saying it to billions of people across the globe. They're just your cousin. They're just your homeboy. They're just your sister. They're just your dad. It's like they're just someone who's related to you or someone you know or a coworker. They're just someone like that. So it's like, well, they're just speaking to you. And even though they're very firm in what they believe and what they think, and they say it to you with all well intention, these other people get on a platform. Now, if your friend was famous, if your friend had a platform, if your friend had billions of followers and they got on there, would you say that they were evil? Or would you say that I know them personally and I know they're well-intentioned? I know some of y'all flat out, y'all just be real about it. You're like, my friend's crazy. I love them, but they're crazy as hell. That's just the way it is. Let's break it down. You know what I mean? There's not even hesitation. But, like, again, are we really, going that route that we're going to say they're evil? Again, not an endorsement. I don't believe, that I'm trying to entice you any other way other than just trying to get you to think about things rationally. So, a lot of people started speculating that he planned the whole thing. And I was like, why would you believe that? And they're like, well, don't you know some of the labs he worked with? And I was like, okay. Well, he does work with some of these labs, but lots of other people do too. So are those other people part of the plan? Well, no, those people aren't part of the plan. Okay, well, why aren't those people part of the plan? Well, they're not making the money he is. Okay. Well, is he really making that much money? They're like, yeah, he's Bill Gates. I'm like, okay, well, let's break down his money then. So 2020, before any vaccines are released or whatever, he's already worth $130 billion. One of the top richest people in the planet, right? 130 billion before the vaccines come out. But they say that, he's controlling the government. He's in bed with Washington. He's controlling the government and they're making us. Well, okay, let's break that down. Well, if he's controlling Washington and he's in bed with Washington and he's convincing them to give us all the vaccine, he's got to be in bed with a lot of people then. Because, if you break it down, there was a Republican in the office when the vaccine was initially rolled out. When the vaccine was rushed, no less, there was a Republican in office. Now there's a Democrat in the office. Who's he in bed with? The Republicans or the Democrats? He was in bed with both. And he's good at the game then. So now you're not just giving him credit for being smart. You're giving him credit for being really smart, really skilled, really conniving, and able to manipulate many people at one time. People from different parties, no less. It makes things a little more complicated. I'm not saying people don't do it. I firmly believe people do. I don't know if y'all ever watched that show House of Cards, but I watched that show. That show was something else. It was fun to watch. And I watched, different people. Kevin Spacey's character. He manipulated both sides of the Republicans and the Democrats. They all thought he was his buddy. There was lots of them who all thought he was, oh man, you're a backstabber, you're lying, I know you're after something. But there was a lot of them on both sides that they're like, man, this guy, he's just doing what's best for America. Meanwhile, he was doing what was best for him. So, and I firmly believe there's absolutely people like that. I know that was just a television show, but I believe there are people like that. I believe there's absolutely people like that. Do I believe Bill Gates is that guy? I don't know. Maybe. I don't honestly think it's for me to judge. I steer clear of people I feel unsafe with. I feel uncomfortable with. I don't feel that comfort level that I feel confident I can trust them and trust their intentions and motives. I would never do business with Bill Gates. I wouldn't. But I wouldn't condemn people who do business with him either, though. I don't feel like I trust him, but I don't feel like it's for me to judge. I try to walk that line. I really do. And it's hard. It's hard. I know in our flesh, in our human nature, we judge people. God says it's not for us to judge. But in our human nature, we can't help it. It's part of our instincts. It's conditioning over time for you to be cautious when you feel anything, uncertainty, unsafeness, just unsettled feelings around certain types of people or certain things that are happening. So it's conditioning. God gave us those instincts for a reason. They're natural. So I don't believe you should walk around judging people, but you should have absolutely respect the guard when you feel need to be guarded. It's like, hey, me and you, we can't be cool. There's a reason that you feel that way. Okay. So he's the guy making all this money. Let's get back to that. He's the guy making all this money. He's making all this money from the vaccines that haven't rolled out yet. I mean, he's already at 130 billion. But let's go ahead and break it down. In 2021, as the vaccines are rolling out, they're starting to pump, right? They're starting. Now he's at 145. So he made 15 billion in a year. Is that really that inconsistent with his record? In 6 years, he made 54 billion. In 1 year, he made 15. It's a little high for 1 year. It's a little high, but it's not completely inconsistent with what he's capable of. In 5 years, he made 26. In 6 years, he made 54. Different years, he does better at different things. All businesses fluctuate, and we were kind of on the cusp of a lot of things blowing up right at that point. So can you attribute it to some of those things blowing up? Some of those tech companies, some of the different things that he was invested in, the price of real estate was going up. Okay, let's get back to that. The price of real estate was going up, so he lost like 60 billion when real estate tanked. Now he's gained 15 billion as real estate is blowing up. Is that money from vaccines? I don't know, maybe. Some of it probably. But is he like killing it on vaccines? Is he really getting rich from vaccines? The boy's already rich. That's the thing, is like a lot of people like always talk, well, he's getting rich off of it. No, he was already rich. I mean, if you don't consider $130 billion of net worth rich, then, I mean, you're never going to be rich because that's in the top 4. 2 years later, though, this year, 2023, as he's been in bed for the last 4 years, minimum, he's been in bed for a lot of people are speculating he's been in bed for 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. So he's been in bed with Washington, these big pharma. I really, that's another post. We're gonna do that another day. But I can't stand the whole big pharma thing. It just, every time people say it, it just makes me kind of cringe a little bit. I can't just believe I said it. But anyways, we're gonna talk about that another day because that's an interesting topic. I hope that doesn't deter you from hearing me out right now. But let's go ahead and finish this up. So this year, 2023, as of February, granted it's July, or it's August now. Granted it's August, but as of February, it was reported that his net worth was $118.1 billion. 118. That's 26.9, let's get it exact, $26.9 billion loss in 2 years. So in 1 year he made 15 billion, but in 2 years, while everybody believes he's getting rich off this stuff, they roll out more and more. They roll out boosters. They get it approved in states they didn't have it in. They get it approved in places they didn't have it. They get multiple boosters. They get it approved for children. They get all these different things. So ultimately, you would think more money's coming, but yet he made 15 billion in 1 year and lost 26.9 in 2. Is this adding up? Is this adding up to him getting rich off these vaccines? Again, you don't gotta like the guy. Again, you don't gotta support the guy. Again, I'm not saying I do. I mean, I just not saying I like him at all. I've honestly never been a big fan of his. I've never felt comfortable. I never felt, But would I claim him to be an evil man? Would I claim him to not be doing what he thinks is good? I don't know. Maybe he thinks these things are good for people. Maybe he thinks vaccines are good for people. A lot of people do. Lots of people do. People believed in vaccines for a long time. Maybe he believes the science that he's funding is good. Maybe he believes the processed meats and stuff, the engineered meats and the these meats that he's building in a lab and stuff, these labs that he's funding, maybe he believes this stuff is good. Some people do. If he believes this is good, then is he really bad for pushing it? If he believes it, he claims to eat this stuff. I'm pretty certain he got the shot. I don't know about him though. I know a lot of other people that they believe were evil and trying to kill us. They claimed that these people were evil, they gave us a shot and they're trying to kill us, but yet they took the shot themselves. So if they were trying to kill us, then they were trying to kill themselves too. Now there's been a few people who said, I took the shot, and it came out later that they never did. Were those people trying to kill you? Most of those people were like celebrities and athletes and stuff like that, who just lied because they didn't want to take it, but they didn't want to lose their position or whatever they wanted to be a part of at the time, so they lied. But are the people who's telling us that it's good for you and then taking it themselves, are they trying to kill you? I think that's such a stretch. It just is. I mean, can you really wrap your head around that? Like I said, you can keep believing he's an evil man. You can keep believing he's a bad guy. You can keep believing all these different people are bad guys. You can keep believing these people are great. I'm just saying we quickly make assumptions based on little information that when it comes down to it, how valid is that information? It's normally not what we think it is. I just want you to take that into consideration, so to speak. Like I said, I think it affects how we do our business. I think it affects how we live our lives. I think it affects how we in our day-to-day life, how we treat our family, our friends, our kids, how we react in certain situations is based on things that we buy into too quickly and then don't really have all the facts. Do the best you can for your kids. Do the best you can for your family, for your husband, for your wife. And if you care about your friends, do your best to put your information out there, things you hear, things you believe in. But let's not be so quick to judge one another. Let's just try that. That's scripture, man. That's God. That's Bible. Let's stop the judgment. Stop calling people stupid. Stop calling people evil. Just because somebody buys into something that you don't buy into. Because they buy into a conspiracy theory that you think is completely ridiculous. Just because they don't buy into a conspiracy theory that you believe in doesn't make them wrong. Doesn't make them dumb. Doesn't make them sheep. Actually, at the end of the day, what makes you a sheep is God. We're all sheep. It's just a matter of who is your shepherd. Hopefully yours is God. Hopefully yours isn't a scientist or a politician or your homeboy. I want to leave y'all with that. I hope that gives you something to marinate on. I hope you can really just take that and just use it to curb how you think and just kind of stop being so quick to judge and throw shade at people you don't know, or even worse, people you know and love. It's your boy. Let's go win today. Get cocky and get it done. I'm out.